everyone, this is SecretDoorGaming. This is a game I've wanted to play for quite some time. Unfortunately, this is only the demo portion, but it's called Mask of the Rose, and it's a gothic horror game, and it's based upon that London has fallen underground, and it's almost like into hell. So, yeah, it's Victorian based, and I believe there's vampires in it. But let's play. In February 1862, with no warning at all, London fell through the surface of the earth. Wow. This was meant to be a year of progress in industry, the Great Exposition, trams, a new sewer system. Instead, we find ourselves dwelling in a cave. It's October now. The fires have been put out, the bodies have been buried. But the future remains unimaginable, the time before impossibly distant. I can customize myself. An arcane academic. I studied historic writings, the hierarchies of spirits, the language of angels, the practical powers of creation. I have friends in high places and am familiar with the church's ways, whether I agree with it or not. A dock worker's child. Oh, this is my biography. My father worked on the docks, unloading ships. My uncle was a sailor. We were on the right side of the law, but the same couldn't be said for our friends. The docks are allied with the working class and with criminals. Ooh, shady. Okay. So there's only 2 that you can choose so far. I guess because of the demo. I'm going to be an academic. That's me. All smart and spiffy. Down here, your name is whatever you say it is. Often there's no one left to remember who you used to be. Some people hold tight to the names they carried before. Some reinvent themselves completely. I prefer strangers to address me as, doctor, professor, officer, secretary, brother, sister, reverend, attendant, monsieur, madame, mademoiselle, miss, madame, sir, my lord, my lady, citizen, comrade, captain, there's a lot, lieutenant, oh my goodness, doctor, I'm gonna be a lady. My lady. My name is, of course, Celine. That suits me fine. My lady Celine. Mind you, I was kind of going for the doctor too. Evening. That's me, Celine to my friends, my lady to strangers. Okay, let's pick and choose. That's how I was addressed even before London fell. I'm a different person down here than I was above. Down here, I'm finally able to use the name that always fit me. No, that's how I was before. Oh, look at that. You can pick your caricature. I hope I said that right. Choose the cameo that best represents you. Look at these cameos. Oh, look at that one. Ooh, look at his hair. Doesn't she look very elegant? This one's nice too. I kind of like Oh, it's supposed to be Victorian. Kind of gothic. I'm gonna pick this one. She's got big hair. I like big hair. In the neath, I guess that's what they call it. A true ally means everything. When I find people to be close to, I'm looking for friendship. Looking for friendship. Attraction rather than romance. Both romance and attraction. I am romance. I'm all about the romance. Ooh, I'm chest. A chest romance, heart's desire. I am happy with this. Right now, I'm meant to be helping with the census, finding out who still lives in my neighborhood, who's still alive. The first census results are due tomorrow. If I turn them in, I get paid. The first money to come my way in nearly 2 months. If I don't, I'm going to disappoint Grizz badly. Who's Grizz? She knew I was in trouble, so she went out of her way to find me work with her own employers. I thought I was a lady, though. I had my own staff and servants. What happened to that? She even gave me a badge to show my affiliation. Badge of the Ministry of Counting and Recounting. The front of the badge almost looks like a constable's badge with a lion and unicorn blazoned on it. The back of the badge has some kind of symbol I don't recognize. Hot to the touch? Weird. I keep it with the clothes I have from before the fall and a few odd items I found most recently. Change my outfit. Yes, let's see what my outfit's all about. Am I wearing clothes? Outfit notes. Not a very sophisticated look. Not much of a look at all. Is that mushrooms growing out of my hat? What in the world? Mushroom hat. Grand, exotically trimmed and very much a creation of the neath. Wearing this hat when courting always inspires me with additional flirtatious things to say. Like, look at me, I'm wearing a mushroom hat. Take my mushroom hat off to you. Oh, more mushrooms. Grand. If I get hungry, I can always take a bite of one of these mushrooms. Here, would you like a spot of mushroom with your tea? You can just take one off my hat. The face. Barefaced. Okay. Label, I guess I'm wearing that. Okay, I look good. Just a top on and a mushroom hat. Coatless. I guess I have a coat. Looks good. What about my undergarments? I'm not wearing anything? Alright. Who's that? Is that me? Oh no, this is Grizz. Ah, I thought you were up here. I can't really speak British. She glances at the badge I'm wearing. I suppose I should be glad you're thinking about the census, even if you didn't get around to leaving the house. Yes, Chris. I react to that way the way I react to many things these days. I turn it into a joke. I dare to name the frightening things out there. I lie. Let's turn it into a joke. I thought I'd wait for a change in the weather. Ha ha ha. Lovely snow, perhaps? There's no sunshine down here. There are no yellow pea soup fogs. There's no rain, except occasionally a fine mist. Londoners lost half our topics of conversation when we fell. Come tomorrow evening, we need to have at least a few census forms filled out. but I'm going to be the one explaining to Mr. Pages. And if that happens, I'm not going to help you with your employment prospects again. Grizz works for the Ministry of Accounting and Recounting. It seems to agree with her. She wears trousers to work and comes home at all hours. It's very important to her being taken seriously by these employers. The next thing I do is characteristic 2. Compliment her. Reassert control, be open and build trust, rely on dark humor. Well, I'm gonna be open and build trust. Allow me to offer my sincere apologies. To be frank, I didn't like the look of the city today. Too many dark alleys. Well, we live in dark London now. Underground. I promise without fail to see we have something to turn in. You'll still have some time tomorrow. She gives me a hard look, as though she could stuff some integrity into a person just by glaring hard enough. What do you think of the questions? I have not read the questions yet. I've only glanced at the sheet of paper. They're written in the most peculiar spiked handwriting, and there are punches in the paper in random spots. Teasers, though, I think that's her handwriting. Jokingly defend my reading ability. Admit I haven't read them. I was going to review them in the morning. By the refreshing dawn light. There's no dawn here. The light tomorrow morning will be exactly the same as it is now. The only difference is the angle of the hands on the clock. Here, try the questions on me. Say you've just knocked on the door and I've come to answer it. Yes, what do you want? Let's introduce myself. Good evening. On behalf of the Ministry of Accounting and Recounting, I have a few questions. Oh, how lovely. I am so grateful these ministries are looking after us. Straightforwardly accept her performance and sarcastically accept, flirtatiously riff on how excellent the ministry is. Read out that first question. Should we be a little flirty? Let's try that. The ministry is extraordinary, now you mention it. All its servants are uncommonly clever and attractive. You have not met some of my colleagues. Jokingly speculate. You said the masters wear robes and hoods and that you haven't seen their faces. Perhaps they are too radiantly beautiful for anyone to look at. Or they're perhaps hideous. I've wondered, they are magnetic in a way. How many people live in this establishmentation? Establishmentation is not a well-formed word. It has two suffixes, both Latinate. Thank you, Professor. If you like, you can translate into questions that are more likely to be understood. Right. How many people live in this establishment? 4. The landlady, Mrs. Horatia Chapman, a young man named Archibald Reed, myself, and a 4th character, very disreputable. Joke that she's not counting the vermin. Build trust. Suggests that she might not be the picture of respectability herself. Let's just insult her back. No, she's my employer. Build trust. I'm not a secretive person, Grizz. If I seem disreputable, you only have to ask about it. Yes, maybe, but then you might expect me to answer any of your questions. Read out the next question. Is anyone in this establishment amorificated or impassionated? What does this even mean? They're asking if anyone here is in love. Just ask that. Is anyone here in love? No. Tease her. Ask whether she's sure about herself. Ask whether she's sure about me. Let's tease her. If you wanted to discuss our romantic inclinations, Grizz, there are easier ways. You didn't have to ask me to survey all our neighbors on the topic. No. At this moment, of course, Archie has to turn up. Oh, I was having fun playing with her. You know, wordplay. Archie is a medical student. He hadn't... Oh, the music's changed. He hadn't finished his training before the fall. But he has plenty of work now, I bet. I wondered where you were. Greet Archie flirtatiously? What is... Am I like just some big flirt? Is that all I care about is flirting? Ask Archie what he needs. No, I'm gonna ask him what he needs. What are you looking for? There is something that needs explaining. Out I went this morning to visit a patient. I guess that's supposed to say to visit a patient, not tie. And what do I find pasted up on the wall? He holds up a broadsheet. There's a new decree from the Ministry of Cartographia and Chirographia, whatever that means. That's all maps and atlases are to be surrendered or put on the fire. It's your folk making these rules, Grizz. Aye. Is he like English or Scottish? I don't know. Or Irish. Promise, yeah, the red hair. Promise Grizz that we can be trusted with whatever she knows. Suggest Archie leave the topic alone. Stay well out of this. Let's promise Grizz. What's going on, Grizz? Poke, poke. You can tell us. We're trustworthy. I'm even working for the ministry. You have yet to actually do anything for the ministry. I have the badge, and I've been trained. Yeah, I have a badge. Will ye be asking your minister pages about these maps? She gives me a long look. My mother warned me about succumbing to wiles. The Ministry of Chirography and Cartography is new. I don't think that existed yesterday. What's with her name, Grizz? Remark that ministries usually take longer to create. Let her draw her own conclusions. Let's just draw her own conclusions. Very well. I'll see what I can find out about this, but it might take some time. Celine, please do collect at least a few census forms by tomorrow. I'll try. At the end of the day, I'll find you and we can take them to Mr. Page's together. I guess that's our boss. He's the, like, hooded guy that hides behind the hood. She gives me a long look before she goes. Aye, well, next time I'll not come in without knocking. Might be I'll cough a few times so the two of you can separate. Ask whether he might be jealous. What? Say I don't know whether she does like me, but I hope so. Register polite non-interest. Laugh at his teasing, but offer no explanations. I'll just laugh. I laugh without answering. Duh, what? I can't say this. Do you think she let me meddle with her precious ministry? Or Horatia? Horatia? Oh, I'm just like, you know, I'm murdering this game, or this text, it's narrating. when she not let me so much as send a petition to ask if they could get a message to my family. Oh, goodness gracious, I'm sorry, people, don't be offended. Said it might be an impertinence and a danger to her position. But she'll let you talk to them, oh yeah, I. Oh, goodness. Okay, I'll get serious here. She might have the look of being fierce. But if she was to choose someone, and then her heart was to be broken, might be disappointment, or it might be meeting way a thing she couldn't plan. But she'd be sadder than a hanged cat. I like you, Archie. You're hilarious. Oh, I'm sorry, this is supposed to be a gothic horror. Say, I'll think about it. Turn the subject to a census while I have him here. Let's turn the subject to a census. I don't know if these little things mean that I'm progressing. Gris has me gathering census pages for the ministry. Aye, Gris told me it was some such thing. I meant to fill a page with answers to questions about you. What questions would those be then? Archibald Reed, matters of the heart, employment. Flirtatiously ask what Archie does for money. Put the query, make it clear this is for the census. Well, I'm not being flirty with him. Use my knowledge of him to bring up the topic. You must be spending a great deal on medicines with all the people you treat. Do your fees cover everything enough for yourself? I did sell off a couple of my old atlases just today. Since those maps sell for a good price if you know the right buyer. Ferrets, vermin, eradication takes it more than just rats. I saw this about rats. There's a lot of rats, moles, spiders. I guess there's a lot of that down in the underground. Ferret shop. Ferret is a local menace eradicated and there's a significant need for their services lately. Anything else you need for the wee form? For the wee babe? Matters of the heart. I'm supposed to find out if he's in love. I don't know why the overlords need to know that. Let's ask. Are you immorificated or impassionated? It'll be like, what? Down here? Nah. What about before the fall? There was a lass back home, and what did me mother do but promise me to her? Encourage him to go on, and hear the sad tale. That sounds like a tale. What happened? It's not so uncommon, I think. She died in childbirth. Me mother was friends with this lass's parents. They were getting on in years and her not married, and of course the whole village knew her business. So me mother said she'd fix it up between us next time I were home, but I've not been back since. Seemed to me I ought to wait till I was finished with my studies. Might have a better look to it. That is everything I need, everything I want. Sleep well then, will ya? Try. 2:31. Does that mean days since the fall? Oh wow. Goodness, people must be going mad down here. Season of confessions. How are we even getting food? What are we even eating? The newspapers aren't what they used to be, but someone is still printing broadcasts these days. The headlines today read, London swallowed whole by Leviathan, sermon on the wrath of an angry god. wow, look at that. I can recall the past. I could change my outfit or I could head outside. Well, I don't really have any outfits. What's my past like? Was I a wee lass? I'm always reliving London's last night on the surface. What is that? Is it like Hell's Gate or something? Diablo. Maybe we did fall into hell. Oh dear. I tried to put it on my head, but it's still there. The dimming of the sun at 3 in the afternoon. The sky turning the color of rust. The horrible bang and the cloud of dust from the direction of Westminster. The tolling of the bells. The horseman who rode down the street labored in the garb of the palace, shouting, "In Her Majesty's name, go indoors!" And then the sky was full of bats. More bats than Egypt had locusts. The wrath of God. Wheeling, shrieking, defecating. Bat feces. People went indoors then, if they'd ignore the criers. Those that had no house crowded into the churches and under the bridge. Even now, I don't understand why Parliament collapsed, how Her Majesty knew to send criers, that bats could behave in so strange a way. How Her Majesty knew to send criers. The palace has been shuttered since that day. The royal family do not emerge. Surely if they had known this was coming, they would have departed London. Unless they weren't allowed. It was only that city that fell. The rest of England, we assume, remains above. London fell for its debauchery and sins. I reckon it's a tornado. I've heard of something similar in the Welsh Hills back in 1760. Oh, this is me in the past, I guess. Nay, light in the sky and a noise like a thunderclap. That's no a tornado, love. It's a plague of Egypt. Horatio. I let them talk. I interviewed before they annoyed one another. I sent a pleading look at Graz. Let's let them talk. It's funner that way. I've seen tornadoes. They come and then they move right on again, and they aren't made of bats. They say the tornado scattered livestock every which way. Sheep on rooftops and that. Then the ground shook again and the pipes rattled on the wall. I believe we can blame Mr. Bazalget's excavations digging about under London, causing a seismic disturbance. And what did he find down there but a cave of 3 million bats? Is that what you reckon? There are stranger things beneath London. That was the beginning of it, but we were down there for hours and hours. The sky darkened and it didn't return to normal. Once around midnight, Grizz went upstairs and opened the door to the street, but she came right back down again. She said the cobbles were galloping about. It wasn't safe to walk outside. After that first bit, the memories collide and I get confused. I have trouble keeping track of which came first, which came later, and whether I am imagining something. I spent a lot of days like this, thinking back, trying to piece together the bits of the puzzles. As if I could realize something that would make sense at all. It's amazing they're still alive. Must have been like some supernatural thing. Change outfit? Do I even have any more outfits, or do I just have what I have? No, I don't think I do have anything else. Return. Let's go outside. Let's see London. Oh, look at this. That's cool. It's a map of London. It's my money. It's morning. And me is poor. Poor folk. Rats. St. Albine's Performartyr? The boarding house, that's where I live, I guess. Let's go check out Ferret's shop with the rats. Ferret is the local menace eradicated, and there's significant need for their services lately. Let's go collect some information from the menace eradicator. Killer of rats. Oh, look at this guy. Ferret, good morning. Ferret doesn't look straight at my badge, but it's been noticed all the same. Everything's alright and tight here. Regular inspections and all that. We pay the constables their due. Introduce myself. Reveal that my family were scholars and churchmen. Introduce myself flirtatiously. No, thank you. The rat must have got at him. Look at his ear. Munch. Celine here, agent for the Ministry of Accounting and Recounting. Some people do conduct themselves in extraordinary ways. His eyes slit. Just like me. Pleasure to meet you. Try buying a secondhand prison jacket behind the counter? Why would I want that? Bargain for that red wig behind the counter? Why do I want a red wig? Inquire into the particulars of the rat catching profession. Let's learn about that. Is business good then? It's booming. I've been rat catching and mole killing for many years now, but I've never seen a business like this. There's demand for the eradicating of the beasties, and demand for their bodies when you've done them. Do we eat them? So the wages have never been so good, but I don't get so much competition as you might expect. Though it stands to reason considering what one finds in a rat nest these days. If you ask me, in a year or two, we'll need more than a terrier to catch rats with. Might need firearms. Mutated rats. Ask how the rats have changed. Oh, what's different about the rats now? Hungrier, aren't they? They're used to a city's worth of scraps. Suddenly London scraps aren't worth the having. They'll come out bold as day and take a loaf off a man's plate if you aren't careful. And you hear stories, don't ya? About rats getting so eager they'll gnaw on an infant in its crib. Panic. Calmly accept what's being said. React as though they can't be serious. I'm not gonna panic. I'm just gonna calmly accept. It's like, yeah, everything's hungrier down here. I believe you. You can take my word for it. Truth to tell, I haven't been called on to deal with any chewed-on infants that weren't already deceased. Unsavory subject. Let's bargain for that red wig behind the counter. I don't know why. It has nothing to do with rats or spiders, but Ferret clearly indulges in a range of additional commerce when the opportunity presents itself. Ask Ferret for the red wig as a gift? No, he doesn't even know me. Bide my time and ask when I have more to bargain with. On second thought, I can bargain for this another time. Let's ask Ferret some census questions. Matters of the heart. I'm definitely not attracted to him romantically. Are you amorificated or impassionated? It's like, what? You won't find any parish documents regarding my nuptials, nor my christening ye neither. Household name. Say a little about my own family. I favor them with a brief sketch of my own upbringing and family tree. Barrett's the only name I go by. And no one saw fit to tell me if it was a forename or a surname. Might have come down to me from a noble house for all I know. Don't think so. I think they're gonna call, the lord and lady are gonna call their kid. Like, hey, ferret. Courtesy of my great-grandsir and his wife, Lord and Lady Stout Weasel. Okay. Household organization. Let's be friendly. He's smiling now, so he kind of likes me. I live just a couple streets from here at Miss Chapman's boarding house. Fewer of us there than there used to be, but it could be worse. No one but me here unless you calculate in the terrier. And the dove. There's one lives under the roof. Dove. No rats, no. Won't find a single living rat in this building unless I invite it here with an engraved invitation. Do I have any more questions to ask? Unemployment. Well, we already know what he does. He kills rats. I have learned that you buy and sell unusual items. I have always bought and sold a few things on the side. Was you looking to make an investment? Rat poison for use at home? Street signs that were pulled down but didn't yet give in to the masters? A handsome map of London streets as they stood prior to the day of wrath? People bring all sorts around here and I pay a fair price. Ask what's in the rat poison. I'm curious. What sort of poison is it? We use all sorts of them on rats. Citronide sometimes. No, strychnine sometimes. I used to use that a lot. Strychnine, sometimes arsenic, other times. You watch murder mysteries or Murder, She Wrote. we use strychnine all the time. Kill people. Terrible way to go. Especially in the past. Murdered people with strychnine. Putting in their tea. Tasted bitter. Though they put an indigo tint in the arsenic to keep a person thinking it's sugar. That form, do you have to put it on whether a person is a gentleman or not? Yeah, there's nothing on it about gender. It doesn't ask anything about whether the person is male or female. That's good. Can't say I've ever liked answering that one. Let's allow him to talk a bit. Any chance you might help me mend my traps? I'd be in your debt. If I say yes, it will no doubt take me the rest of the day to finish. But a favor from Ferret might be of some use in the future. Agree flirtatiously? No. Agree, but say they will owe me. I want that red wig. Certainly, I'll find a way for you to return the favor later. So, it's after. Oh, I like that. Look at that. It's afternoon now. So I spend a mostly agreeable afternoon repairing traps and cages. Now and then, Ferret whistles tunelessly. Let's draw this conversation to an end. Do come back, especially if you have anything of a verminous nature that wants looking into. Or if you meet with any likely urchins what wants to apprentice. I went looking for the ragged school, but they ain't to be found where they used to be. At this point, I go back to Horatia's. It's evening now. What a nice little boarding house. I like the picture of the cows. Grizz is waiting for me. Whatever census forms you have ready, it is time to take them to Mr. Page's. Uh-oh. gonna be mad. I only have one. Ask if we couldn't have supper instead. Can I have some food? I'm hungry. Now? I'm famished. Mr. Pages has been expecting these all day. He is eager to see what you made of the collection. Uh-oh, he's not going to be too happy. I've got like a vermin guy in there who's got no relations. Once I've shown you how to reach the ministry, you can come back on your own and turn in others. Grizz has me gather my papers. I didn't do very well. I was fixing rat traps all afternoon. With luck, Mr. Pages will decide to keep you on. I don't think he's going to like me. With even more luck, he won't mind being asked about the Ministry of Choreography and Cartography. With that, she leads me outside and along a side street that is no longer named. So where does Mr. Pages live? Here, Diablo's Tower? The way is serpentine through streets that do not seem to lead towards the spears at the center of the city. But each time I look up, it is closer, the speared building on the horizon. Uh-oh. Hell's Gate. Finally, we find ourselves standing in its shadow under its walls. Before us is a low door that once I think belonged to a solicitor's office. Grizz takes out a key made of something other than metal and locks that door. Interesting. Why is the ink red? Is that a fish? Is that a goldfish floating in a bowl? What's that? A piece of, hell? Mind the pile of papers. I've already sorted them 3 times. Mr. Pages is very particular about the ordering of documents. Why does they want to know about people in love? Are they eat people that are in love or something? I don't know. Now where has he gone? Usually he's here by this time of day. Evening. Ooh, look at you, beastly. What in the world? And why is your eyes glowing? Yeah, demon. Or vampire. Ah, there you are, sir. We were just coming to bring you the census documents. A first installment of many, I'm sure. Mr. Pages, may I present Celine? Celine, this is Mr. Pages. Okay. The whole Ministry of Accounting and Recounting is under Mr. Pages' direction. Acknowledge the introduction. Express gratitude for the job. Stand well back and make no sudden moves. Yeah, is he some kind of, monster? That's probably not gonna go well with my employer. But do I want it to go well? With the, beady glowing eyes creature? How do you do? Scary monster? Furtilus with a soup con of Myrtillans. What? Mr. Pages has a surprisingly high voice for someone so large. Oh, look, it's female. I beg your pardon? Mr. Pages has been interviewing a Frenchman unhappily stranded on our shores before the fall. You can imagine how that might affect both mind and vocabulary. Wonder whether it was challenging for the Frenchman. Request a translation. Nod sagely. Agree that must have been challenging for Mr. Pages. Agree that it must have been... I'm gonna wonder. Are you saying that the Frenchman suffered from an interview with Mr. Pages? Ooh, his eyes. Maybe he didn't like that answer. The fall was a shock. We've written down the particulars of his situation. I'm sure the ministry will do whatever it can to assist him. What have you brought us? Us? Why does he say us? Let's give him Archie. Most satisfactory. There are secrets here. He gives me 2 shiny pennies for my trouble. I turn one over and has a portrait on the back of someone who is certainly not the queen. The face on the back of the coin stares at me until the hair prickles on my neck. It reminds me of a dead goat. And I don't want to remember. And my breath hitches and slows and resumes. I'm holding 2 pennies now. Okay. We did not expect much from Archie. Undercan Grizz have already relevated that he is a lightless character. They're looking for people that have no light in them. What else is there? Hand over a finished census page about Farron. Try to make his voice kind of scary. Pages offers me 2 pennies from a jar, bringing my stash to 4. There are other coins in there and a few things that aren't even coins. Buttons, pearls, probably false, a horse head carved from ivory or bone. The quality of your information impresses us this time. Pages continues turning the pages over. Get it? Pages? Pages continues turning the pages over, looking back and forth between them for a long time. In the fish, this way of capturing medicines, we have better ways. The ministry will make them known. I'm gonna ask Mr. Pages a few questions. Hey, Mr. Pages, I'm gonna get you to. You're gonna be part of my census. Ask what the census is for. What are you doing with the census information? Am I being too bold here? All of London's older records were destroyed in the fall. Not destroyed. Rendered less than utilificacious. He likes to speak in big words. Many of the people counted are deceased. Moreover, the older records are all missionary. Perhaps it was time for such a thing. My uncle always said that parliamentary procedures have the dust of the Tudors on them. If not of King Alfred. Ask how long the food will last. That's very important. If the ministry has supplies of food, where did those come from, and how many more months will it feed us? The census may provide us with a better understanding of requirements. There are methods of additional accusation. It is not valuable I can't even say some of these words. For the people of London to starve. Oh, so you want us alive. Like you're a parasite or something. Probably is. Why are you asking people about their romantic situation? Are you planning any related laws and regulations? I can't imagine that. You may consider the love stories remunerant. Don't even know what that means. But I think it kind of means like it's redundant, doesn't really matter or something. An exchange for our generosity in the matter of food and clothing. Ask whether the stories have to be true. Is it important that these tales be truthful? London is full of fiction. There are more novels published every year, and half the accounts in the newspapers are likely false as well. One might experimentulate. Discover whether Mr. Page is looking for tales of saucy variety. Are there any particular details that would enhance the pleasure of these tales? Yes. If you are able to convey the flavor of the hearts and the resistance to the tooth. What? Metaphorically. I have no idea what he just said. I don't know about you folks, but I'm so lost with some of this, what this guy's talking about. I don't know if he's talking about food or if he's talking about, like, romance or what. Draw this conversation to an end. Yes, please. Grizz accompanies me out again when it's time to go. As we make our way back to Horatia, she asks me what I think of Mr. Pages. Creepy dude with uses big words, who I don't understand. She tries to make it sound like an idly curious question. Make light of Pages' tailoring challenges? I'm gonna make light of Pages' tailoring challenges. I tell her that I feel Mr. Pages must be a boon to robe makers throughout London. She replies that judging by the ink stain, she does not think he replaces his wardrobe terribly often. The rest of the walk is taken up with speculation about Mr. Pages' taste in gloves and boots. I would be more like, what is Mr. Pages? His eyes are glowing. Before we go back inside the house, she reminds me. We have many more people in the neighborhood to survey for the census. You know how it's done now, so you can collect them and take them to Mr. Pages yourself, so he can eat my soul. I have other duties, and I may not always be there, but Pages is, well, I'm certain you won't be harmed if you visit the ministry on your own. What? Ask neutrally whether she has feelings for Pages? What? Silently conclude she has an interest in Pages. Say none of what I'm thinking. I will not say what I'm thinking. It's getting late, so I'm heading back home. I'll let my strange boss Grizz have her own interests of love with Mr. Pages. Leave that alone. Leave that under the bed or under the table. Oh, speaking of tables, Archie is already at the table when I arrive. When he sees me come in, he gives a guilty start and scoops some of his stew back into the tureen. Took more than I'd rather to, but I've not eaten any yet. Apologies. Say nothing but don't have any stew. Oh, were you trying to eat my stew, Archie? You terrible person. Sniff at what's in the tureen, shrug and take a bite. Sniff what's in the tureen. It smells like mushrooms. It always smells like mushrooms. There was a lass who asked me to come around and look at her brother, a Jewish family. They usually go to their own doctor, but he's out of service and ran away or something of that ilk. Their old synagogue was destroyed in the fall, so they moved to the Tenterground Synagogue. Tenterground Synagogue. An old synagogue and one that has weathered the fall very well. Rachel and David Leno. David has a stomach complaint, chronic. Perhaps they have trouble cooking anything palatable. It ain't easy these days with what we have. The sister's a beauty. She wouldn't leave the room while I saw into her brother. Ask what David was doing. Will the brother live? Oh, aye. For a bit, I thought it might be serious. But what he needs is his stomach settled. It's all the mushrooms. Tell unnerving stories about meeting Grizz's employer. Grisman took me to the ministry. Her employer wears a cloak like a highwayman and keeps offices like a solicitor. Oh, yes? Is the ministry very grand? I wouldn't say grand so much as extremely unnerving. They must be well-to-do if they've food enough to feed all of London. I'm not sure Grizz is wise to work there. I'd like the sound of them. It does sound unusual. I admit, some of Grizz's stories give me a turn, but you mustn't be too quick to judge. These people at the ministry might have different ways from ours. With her cross, you would think she would start thinking them like, oh my goodness, they're demons! Keep quiet and eat. Let's keep quiet and eat. I chewed diligently. Munch, munch. The first few days weren't bad. People had food in their pantry still. Old loaves of bread, leftover joints, roots and jams. But nothing new was coming into the markets. No new fish, no vegetables from the farms. By this time our plates are empty. Horatio stands and began putting the dishes away. So what are we eating? Mushrooms? Is that next day? 232 days since the fall. Season of confessions continue. I wonder how long this demo is. We'll see, folks. Despite everything, there are still broadsheets printed. This morning's lies open on the table. Masters announce revised mushroom rations for hungry Londoners. So what, they're gonna give us like a couple mushrooms now? We're gonna have to start eating our hats? Well, can't change my outfit. I have nothing to change into. Let's go outside, I guess. The bazaar. I want to go see Mr. Pages again. I'm very curious about this person. I like talking like them. The ministry offices are tucked up snugly under that unexplained and very un-English tower. Find my way there when Grizz is not present. This is going to end in my death. Let's see. I don't have anything to give to Mr. Pages. Is he going to, like... Grizz has already shown me once how to visit the ministry. But it's not hard for me to return on my own. Mr. Pages is at its desk when I come in. He raises his head and looks at me without saying anything. Oh, you're still in your cloak. You do not appear to have brought any ampler pleated forms with you. Perhaps the nature of this job was not made clear. He looks angry. Apologize and promise to do better. Cast the blame on Chris. Apologies. On my oath, I will do better. Not to worry. Get a good look around. The place looks like a repurposed law office. The shelves, the desk, the paperwork, it could be an ordinary solicitor office. But a few things look wrong when I attend to them. The paperweight on Mr. Page's desk, it makes my eyes sting to look at it. We advise against looking too long. Those that aren't careful may be troubled with nightmares. You will go home now. We didn't eat me, at least. That leaves time for one more error today before supper. Oh, I just wasted my time there. You didn't give me any new information or anything. I've been there. Let's go to Tenterground Synagogue. An old synagogue, the one that has weathered the fall very well. Let's look for Archie's patients, the Landos. We've never met before, but I recognize these people anyway from Archie's description. They have to be the Landos, the brother and sister pair. He's been treating David's stomach pains. Wait here, Rachel. I'll speak with this person. It won't take long. Good afternoon. Introduce me as a friend of Archie. Celine here. I have the advantage, I'm afraid. I know of you through a friend of mine, the young Dr. Archibald Reed. He and I reside at the same lodging house. Her? I'm David's sister, Rachel Simcha Ledoux. She adds the first name and watches me significantly as though I'm supposed to have heard of her. Maybe she was famous in London. I am Rachel's brother, David Ledoux. When he says this, his voice takes on the faintest trace of an accent, though he otherwise speaks entirely like an Englishman. Did Dr. Reed send you to us with some sort of message? I suppose I shouldn't call him doctor, as he didn't qualify. That's kind of snobby of you. He would have known to find us here, but I can't imagine what message that would be. We've paid his fees. Ooh, these people are kind of like snobby. No, I'm here on my own business, but he told me you might be here. What can we do for you? Well, because I'm dressed as that, I guess. The Ministry of Accounting and Recounting has asked me to work on the census. I'll answer your question, Celine, if you answer mine. Call it character research. Are you having peculiar dreams down here? Talk about the lurid mystery of my nightmares. Mention that Archie has patience with just this complaint. Admit that I'm having peculiar dreams. Yes, from time to time. Of a land of thick green jungle and an orange sun high above. Of colors you don't see in waking life. Yes, sometimes. People miss sunlight and foliage, so they dream of that. It's like being hungry and dreaming of cream cakes. Cream cakes, whatever those are. Do you see a bird with 7 heads? No. Go ahead with your questions, Celine. Ask her what she means about character research. What did you mean when you said you had a question about character research? I write novels. They are published one chapter at a time in the Lily of London magazine. I was in the midst of one when the fall happened. My publisher insisted that I continue the story despite all. Rachel, are you certain you want to share so much? Does it matter? Surely these precautions are behind us. Ask her what her story is about. What are you writing about? If you take the Lily of London, Celine, you may have the pleasure of reading my next chapter yourself. Though I confess I'm at a standstill as to what it will contain. My heroine was meant to set off for Paris, and there to be reunited with her lost beloved. But as the fall has transpired in fiction as well as in fact, I must resign myself that the courtship is ruined. Ask about her inspiration to become a novelist. What inspired that choice of occupation? Do you know it was another Yom Kippur many years ago? Our family gathered to break the fast, my Landau cousins at one side of the table and my mother on the other. The little Landaux so devout, scandalizing my mother with, she would say, their low manners. My mother in turn scandalizing the Landaux by seeming so almost English, with her lax views on crushed rut. Each side unaware of how horribly it was affronting the sensibilities of the other. In such a moment, you either retire to your room to compose, a savage roam in a cleft, or you throw open the window, lean out and scream. Those are the only possibilities. Rachel does herself an injustice. She writes with real sympathy. You haven't always described it that way. I simply wish you would draw less extensively from life. Choose a question from my notebook. Matters of the heart, let's ask David. So make it clear this is for the census. Should I flirt with him? I don't know, I haven't had any, other options. Am I supposed to be romantically involved? I don't know. Let's see. Are you married or otherwise promised? Oh? Not recently. I was in love once, or so I imagined. Charlotte, she and David had an understanding. She converted in any case. Becoming Christian suited her social aspirations. Rachel. Yes, I take leave to dislike your unworthy suitors as heartily as you dislike mine. Milton is a yellow-eyed, flash-dressed, hot-headed creature at least 2 decades too old for my sister. I hardly think he and Charlotte are comparable. Ask whether... Do you have any romantic commitments now? He doesn't have any commitments. In fact, I would go so far as to say he is utterly without prospects. He stays home and reads. I haven't been well. He warns me of spinsterhood, but he's headed very much in that direction himself. It isn't the same thing at all. I agree, it isn't. I have my work to support myself. But what's become of your funds since the fall? You'll have to marry if you don't mean to end your days a pauper, brother. David looks too irritated to reply. Choose a question from my notebook. Household organization. That's more flirty again. There's something I like to ask all the new people I meet. Who else lives in your household? Our home contains myself, my brother, and our housekeeper. It isn't a grand establishment. We had a Jewish housekeeper for many years, but she passed away, and Phoebe had lost her place with a neighbor of ours. There is a short silence. Rachel brings up a legend, common amongst the servant classes, that the Neath contains many other fallen cities. They say if you travel far enough through the cave, you'll find the ruins of Kitseth. And if you walk 3 times the circumference of the cave, counterclockwise, you'll come to the palace of the Queen of Sheba. No one has discovered even one edge of the cave yet. She's not meant to be an easy find. Be flirtatious, receptive to her tale. I do find you fascinating. Rachel glances at him and looks mildly embarrassed. Choose a question from my notebook. Who's this? Employment. Rachel glances at him and looks mildly embarrassed. Oh, that's... What does David do for a living? Now I'm curious, David, what line of work are you in? We have money in the funds and interests in small businesses in London and elsewhere. That time was when I used to be very busy in answering letters from Livorno from Amsterdam. These days my time is not so extensively occupied. We're expected elsewhere. Perhaps we'll meet again. Oh, I was enjoying your guys' company. You two are very interesting. Goodbye then. I liked you two. It's time to go home. Let's see if Archie's eaten my food. It's good one of you is here for supper. Neither Archie nor Grizz has made an appearance today. Who's this? Arjeet. Good evening. I'm looking for Mr. Reed. Is he here? Archie? He's upstairs. Arjeet turned up as the constable of these streets right around the time London fell. I didn't see him around here before that, but he's watched over the neighborhood since. Listen. Yes? I know all the old maps have been outlawed. But if you come for his atlas, do you think you could leave it with him? It gives him a lot of comfort. Remembered all those little villages in Scotland where his family used to live. Let Archie get on with it. That's probably ministry business. Keep quiet and put in a good word for Archie's map collection. Yes, leave Archie his maps. He's not doing any harm with them. Why they want to take our maps? This isn't why I am here. Let them keep chatting over the matter. Oh? Is it to do with his doctoring? I hope no one's too ill. I know Archie worries trying to do a physician's work when he didn't finish his training. Does he often treat people? Discourage Horatia from answering that. Perhaps we should find out why Harjeet is here before we answer any more questions. Yes, let's be smart about this. You may all find yourself assisting in inquiries sooner or later. This is the moment that Archie finally comes downstairs himself. Harjeet, I hope you are well. I'm sorry, Archibald. Uh-oh. I'm here in the line of duty. It's about David Landau. Did something happen to him? I only saw him today. Shortly after your visit, he died by poisoning. What? I just saw him. Died? The poor man! React with shock. What? But I saw him very recently. I'm sorry to have to bring you this news. Is Rachel alright? Is there anyone with her to protect the house? The Landau said you were the last person to speak with David. That the fatal dose must have come from you. What? I didn't understand. I'm here to arrest you for murder. What? Wait a moment. Perhaps Mr. Landau's own relations took against Archie's manor, and they're blaming him for what he didn't do. My manner? Your way of speaking is peculiar, love. Sometimes people leap to a conclusion for the wrong reason. I knew it was just time till Summit went away. There's too many folks ill, and can I cure the whole town? Ask if Rachel's alright. How is Rachel doing? Does she have anyone with her? There's her housekeeper Phoebe and some friends from her community. But I just saw the guy. That doesn't make sense. They're preparing the body for burial. It can't be left unburied very long. Ask where David's being buried. Where are they burying him? They mean to take him to a Jewish graveyard at Ball's Pond. Rachel said there might be a dispute with their Spanish relatives and that their mother was buried somewhere else. But she did not think it would change the outcome. Ask where Harjeet is taking Archie. Where are you taking Archie? Newgate Prison was destroyed in the fall. For the time being, prisoners are held in the HMS Ungulate. Sounds like a very insalubrious environment, cold, damp, infested with vermin. Breathing the vapors of the times. Might not be good for the health of the prisoners. You're not talking your way out of that. No, I mean, if you didn't mind, before we set out, I'd like to collect a few doses of this and that. Things that might help to settle bad lungs and prolonged coughs. Oh, he's such a nice man. He's not even thinking of himself, but trying to help the other prisoners. You're asking whether before we go you can be allowed to rearrange your collection of drugs and bring some of those drugs with you. That isn't quite how I'd have phrased it. When you stand accused of murdering a man through the use of potent toxins. Oh. He's so innocent. For the sake of your future guards and cellmates, I think I must refuse. Let Archie go. Nothing I can do. The poor guy. Horatia, I'll be back as soon as I can. Don't let out my room to anyone else. Poor man, he thinks he's gonna come back. He's not gonna come back. Next time on Mask of the Rose, unless I, save him, of course. Okay, so I think the demo is over, folks. But let's see. If you want me to see the surface again, tell me the truth. What's in the bottle? They're keeping them in the boats? I don't know what it is. I only know what it does. And you've no need to lie. I know I'm no seeing the surface again. Archie's books. Help me burn them before they give Harjeet the wrong idea. Oh. There's a true story in here and thousands of false ones. Oh, look at this. Offered his mother's ring, turned to the bottle. Archie, hoped for love. Not interested. Oh. He was interested in Grizz. He offered Grizz his mother's ring, and she turned him down. Bluntly refused. And then it says, don't know what she's done now, but he turned to the bottle. After Archie and Grizz met at Horatia's boarding house, Archie's love for Grizz was matched only by Grizz's dislike for Archie. Archie made a passionate offer of marriage. Grizz gave her refusal in blunt terms. Desperate to forget, Archie turned to drink. Meanwhile, Grizz turned to Mr. Pages. Compelling, but for next time. More heart crumblings is required. I was like, crumble. Like crumble pie, you know? Or, crumble cake, apple crumble cake. I gotta stop thinking about cake. Mr. Pages. Do you have cake under that robe? Rachel. My own people won't permit disturbing the gravesite. I think there's a lie here. I just saw David. He was fine. But you, I know you'll help me. For your friend's sake, even if you don't care about David. My companion is good with a shovel. Whoa. Are we burying David? What? David. Rachel, I'm sorry. I had no choice. What? We thought you were dead. I was. And we need to see to my murderer. The next time he tries, I might not be able to come back. What is going on? We hope you have enjoyed playing the Mask of the Rose demo. Okay, so the Mask of the Rose is actually on Steam. You can buy it on Steam, the full game. And I hope you folks enjoyed that playthrough of the demo. I really enjoyed it. I had a great time. And it will tell you, the full game will tell you more what's going on with London and why the rats are so weird. And why there's so many bats. And yeah, and it's just a really incredibly interesting, creative game. And I just really was getting into the story and all, so I hope you like this playthrough, and if you like it, please hit that like button and subscribe to SecretDoorGaming, and I hope you all have a wonderful day. See you soon.